Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the video. This is David Pendleton, and we are going to talk about Pro Division Shiruba Springs 9-hole cup tournament. So, I had a really good pro round, as you can see here. Kind of take a look at the scorecard, and you're going to see we even picked up a birdie on hole number 3, which is a par 5. So, just kind of made a little mistake on that one and wasn't able to save it. But overall, we're going to be very satisfied with this round, as I do believe this is a little bit of a tougher tournament. So, before I hop into the replays, if you're not a subscriber already, please become one. It would mean a lot to me. And secondly, if you find this video helpful, please go ahead and just hit that thumbs up button. And let's go. Here we are. Okay, so hole number 1, we played at 10% elevation. And what we want to do here is we need to power this ball up the fairway. And the only thing that stinks about this shot is we're getting pretty heavy headwind. So we do have to overpower our drive here, which is always dangerous. Now, the nice part is, even if you hit a great ball, like, you should still be okay on the hole to pick up a birdie. But we do need to hit this thing perfect to slam it up the fairway here, which will help give us a shot with our Grizzly for shot number 2 to drop this eagle and to kind of find this weird funnel, which I'll talk about here. All right, now this shot here, I'm playing at minus 10% elevation. This is an uphill shot, and the biggest thing that you always want to do on this hole, if you remember from previous tournaments, is you need to find minimum distance of your club. And what that's going to do is going to allow you to make your ring pull a lot easier, because whatever app you use, you can just use the dead minimum number. So the only way to really find a true minimum with your Grizzly is you need to pack like a weird club in your bag, like a dart or something of that nature, something that's not powerful, so that you can find your Grizzly, the runner. Put the runner in your bag combined with the Grizzly, and you're going to be good. Let me just double check on that real quick. Should have been prepared, but I don't want to give you any wrong advice. And I don't have my notes with me. Yeah, you want to use the runner because the power is so low. Don't use your thorn, because if you use your thorn, then you're not going to be able to bring your Grizzly down far enough to find the minimum. So use your runner, okay? Sorry about that. Should have been prepared, but either way, we're ready to go. At this point, when you find minimum distance, all you want to do is apply top spin on your ball and get it dead center. And make sure that you leave the ball guideline through the pin pretty good, like I did there, because we are getting 6 mph headwind. And headwind is going to be a common theme for the most part in Pro Division qualifying round. Game makes it a little tough on us. And the reason we want to use the Grizzly is because of the accuracy on this shot. We do want that accuracy, and we do want that really nice ball guideline that this club provides. If you watch me, you know I'm not a big fan of this club, but for this hole, it's always been the go-to. As you can see, we're dead center with a perfect speed to pin, and that hole plays really nice. Brings us on to hole number 2. Going to do 20% elevation at mid-distance of the club. And we'll kind of take a look at the setup here. So you notice here, I've kind of got the yellow ring up against the rough line. And the spin should be good to note here. It's almost 3 bars of backspin, combined with max side spin to the right with the Kingmaker, which is 3 bars. Definitely in the cup, but favoring the right-hand side of the cup. Now, I will tell you, if you play with money balls, you would definitely be favored to use like a win 5, side spin 3, power 3. Anything like that would be the most ideal ball for this hole. But to be relevant to the wide audience, I always use free balls, such as a Kingmaker here. I am favoring a very slight 1201 pull angle. It's not a hard 1201, it's just a very slight 1201. I think that's important to note as well. You can see there we hit the rough, and we roll in dead center for the pin again. I played this hole on my first account at 10% elevation, and the shot was off. That's why I changed it to 20% at mid-distance, and that thing dropped in exactly where I wanted it to. Now, that is not an easy shot to hit. There's not a lot of forgiveness on the rough. So if you hit a great ball, you could be dead in the water and having to save your hole with a chip in from the sand or from the rough, whatever it may be. But I do think that provides the best chance for a hole-in-one right there. Now that takes us on to hole number 3. Hole number 3, this is the hole that I messed up on. Now you can use whatever club is going to provide you with good topspin, and you're going to want to make sure that you bring a very powerful wood club for shot number 2. So for me, I use Thor's hammer. Now you can do this with any big topper as well, and I do recommend a berserker for this hole. Here I'm pulling at 10% elevation, and unfortunately this hole doesn't have a lot of forgiveness if you hit a great ball, which I do here. A great ball to the right is more than likely going to land you into the rough, which stinks. Because now you're in a position to where you have to try to save your hole with a chip-in shot from distance. So I completely bypass what we'd want to do, and here I am setting up on the left-hand side of the fairway because that was the easiest fairway for me to reach. And the biggest thing is if you ever mess up a hole, you always want to make sure that your second shot, you don't gamble. You always want to make sure you land on the fairway to give you a chance to save yourself. Worst thing you could do is go from rough and into rough again, and then you're pretty much, you know, really praying to save your hole. But anyways, you can see I lined this shot up, and unfortunately I hit a great ball to the left. But I almost thought we were going to get it in the hole. So hit a great ball to the left, and it misses to the left. But either way, you know, we're still -5 through the first 3 holes. It'd been nicer to have been -6, but sometimes that's just the way the game goes. You have to be thankful for the ones that you make. Hole number 4, now this one is a little bit of a weird hole, and I did reference a tournament from a long time ago when we tried to play this shot like this. And now keep in mind this was from back in the day when we had time to dial in a shot. But I did notice that around 5 bars of backspin with full side spin to the left was a good way to play this hole. And keep in mind here, look at this weird offset. And the reason that we're doing this so hard is because of the headwind. We're aiming way pin high, and we're adjusting our side spin full left side spin. This is also a situation where you want to make sure that you put in like a grizzly in your bag so that you can find absolute minimum distance of your sniper. Because as you see here, that's how I'm lining up. I'm lining up at absolute minimum distance with a little bit of my red ring inside the sand. I do try to provide a little bit more detail like this in Pro, as the wind angles are a little bit harder. And we come in right at pin, we just barely miss to the right-hand side. So take a look at my setup here when I find minimum distance. Minimum distance, right there, I have the red ring barely inside the sand. We need to move that over even a little bit more, and then I think that's going to help us get that ball closer to the pin. And the reason that I say that is because on the first shot, I played it the exact same way, except I had the red ring not even touching the sand. There was a little bit of a gap between my red ring and the next ring, and I missed it even more to the right-hand side. So I tried to move it over about a full half of a ring, and then I came in a lot closer this time. So I think if we can move it over even more and put more of the red ring inside the sand, that's going to help us get that ball in the hole. But this one is a difficult shot to drop, and I'm definitely not counting on it. So, but as you can see here, we're very close. Okay, brings us on to hole number 5. Love hole number 5 because it does provide us a good chance for an eagle, and it's not an eagle a lot of opponents pick up because the rough bump to pin always plays a little weird. Anyways here, you don't need a lot of distance. We're going with 4 bars of top spin, 3 bars of side spin to the left. You can see I'm using a quarterback with my red ring lined up against that fringe line, or rough line I should say. Jeez, not the fringe, come on Dave. Hit this ball down the fairway here for 353 yards. That leaves us here for another shot with the Grizzly. Now, I'm using this club a lot, and I know somebody's going to say something about it because everybody knows I hate this club. But, again, with these rough bumps on this course, this has always just been the best club to play. Now, if you remember from tournaments past, when we've tried to execute this shot, for some reason, when we miss to the right-hand side. So, You're going to see me play this here with 0 elevation. I am favoring the left-hand side of the cup, and I'm even favoring a 1159 pull angle. So I'm doing everything that I can to fight against the natural slope from left to right. And as you can see here, with all that combined, we do drop it in for the eagle. So let's take a look at that setup one more time. All right, so here we go. I got my entire yellow ring inside the rough with the top of the yellow ring touching the rough. You can see here we're favoring the left-hand side of the hole. Look at the wind flicker from north to north-left. That's 1159, but it's barely. It's not a hard 1159. We're just trying to eliminate the needle going from north to north-right. That's all we're trying to do, is just eliminate that. And we think that went in there for a very tricky eagle, but I think we got a nice setup and everything for you to copy and try to play there. Hole number 6, not a fan of this hole. Now, hole number 6, you can play this with a lot of different clubs, okay? You can play this with an APOC. You can play this with an extra mile. You can play with the Thor's hammer. The only thing that we want to do is make sure we use the top spin to get our ball guide line up there on that fairway. And we're just going to use left curl to make sure that we don't go into the rough. So you see how we're pointing at the rough? We're going to adjust our shot here. And like I said, we're going to use left curl to fight against going into the rough on the right-hand side. I was a little nervous when I hit a great ball to the left. I thought I would end up in the left-hand rough. But we can see that we roll out, and this hole has a little bit of forgiveness for us. So that is nice to know. I even forgot to pack my cataclysm, and I was happy to see that I could even take this shot with the sniper. So that's a little bonus. I thought that I have to bring my cat in order to get myself onto the green, but we don't. You can see here I am at max distance with the sniper. And that's no big deal. We're able to swing this ball around, go from fairway to fairway, and roll nicely onto the green. These par 5s on this tournament are difficult. They're no gimmies, and I really appreciate that about this course. I think it makes tournaments a lot more fun to play because you're going to see a lot of people hit some birdies, on these par 5s. So, and an albatross is going to be extremely rare. None of these are an easy albatross line. So I do like this course. I like it more for the challenge than anything else. Okay, so, this is going to be reminiscent of the last tournament when you guys saw me take a berserker ball on hole 8, and I hit it past the green and out of bounds, right? So on my first account, I hit a great shot to the left, and I hit those rocks there, which is exactly where I'm aiming right now, right at that rock. So I hit the rock, and I bounced over to the left. It was no problem. It was still easy to save the birdie. But, I really wanted to take advantage of this wind and go for an eagle and try to drive green. So I made sure this time that I lined up my berserker here with my extra mile right over that rock. You see how I'm aiming right over the middle of that rock there? And then we move it to the right a little bit. I pull it 10%. And then I turn it around and I push back up to max. You can see here I'm using almost full overpower with half a ball to curl to the left. And unfortunately, we go too far again. So, ultimately, what do we learn from that? We learned that we don't have to have an extra mile 9 to do that because I have more top spin than an extra mile 8. We learned that a berserker is plenty of power for the ball. And we do learn that we can execute that drive just with less power, maybe less overpower or less top spin. So I think that's the best way to approach this one. And then the cool part is I've really been on fire lately with chipping out of the sand and out of the rough, which we do the same thing here. I just get my ball into the hole, hit a perfect shot, and we drop it dead center for an eagle. So, that's not a difficult hole. I probably just made it more difficult by trying to go full overpower, pushing up. Looks like we can eliminate a little bit of that stuff And you can go ahead and learn from that shot. That was a nice drive, and it's always fun to take shots like that in the game. Okay, brings us on to hole number 8. Hole number 8, 15% at mid-distance. Again, this is another opportunity where this was my second shot at the hole, and I tried to play it 20% on my first shot. Barely missed, so I just added I subtracted 5% elevation, and I tried to favor the left-hand side of the cup and use more topspin. So I think that's important to note, is for some reason on this hole, if you don't leave the ball guideline through the hole, you come up short. And that's more than likely going to be because when we go to pull our rings, we dip into the sand, which means we lose a little bit of power. That's just kind of how the way the game is designed, which is a little bit weird. But when we adjust and we dip into a lower elevation point like this, we just lose distance on the shot. I guess that's the best way to put it. But regardless, you can see here that 15% at mid-distance. We dropped this ball in for a hole-in-one. And again, this is another scenario where if you have a Win 5 Power 3 ball, that would give you a really good opportunity to make this shot easier. Very cool. All right, hole number 9. Hole number 9, I'm using my Thor's hammer again. Now again, I want you to keep in mind, you can use whatever club is going to have the most top spin for you, and you can easily execute this drive with a big topper. So I just want to make that clear. You don't have to have a Thor's hammer level 6. You can definitely easily do this with a big topper with the same ball. And make sure you pack your Horizon club, just like we did in Rookie. We're going to go top spin, top spin. All right, so we hit this ball 371. This is what shot number 2 looks like. This is pretty straightforward, 10% at mid-distance. And this is why we're using the Horizon. This is the club we always use on this hole when we're playing a tournament. Always. At least I do. But this is it for the video. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you're able to go out here and have a great score. And please subscribe. Please hit that thumbs up button. Thank you everybody for watching.